He entered his home with his wife.
No.
They had just few important things to take away, but little did they know an armed man had already broken into their home,
Is
there no food?
waiting to give them the most horrific day they could ever had on planet Earth. Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. So the movie kicks off with this guy who doesn't even have a name. We just know him as Nobody. He's probably in his late 40s or early 50s, and he shows up at this insanely fancy vacation home tucked away in a quiet part of Ojai, California. It's one of those huge houses that looks like it belongs in a magazine, sitting right next to an orange orchard, giving off that rich people hiding out from the world kind of vibe. You can tell right away that whoever owns this place has a ton of money. Everything is spotless, modern, and ridiculously high-end. Nobody walks in like he owns the place. He doesn't knock, doesn't sneak in, just strolls right through the front door. He moves around like he's been here before, checking out the rooms, admiring the expensive furniture, and even helping himself to a drink like it's no big deal. He doesn't seem nervous or in a rush, just kind of calm and comfortable, like this is routine for him. While he's exploring, he opens a drawer and finds a wad of cash and a shiny, expensive Rolex. He takes his sweet time looking at them, as if he's trying to decide if he should take them or not. It's pretty obvious he's not supposed to be there, but for some reason, he acts like he belongs. At first, it feels like he's just there for a look around, or maybe to steal a couple things quietly, but that peaceful vibe doesn't last long. Out of nowhere, the homeowners return way earlier than he expected. The guy who owns the house is a big-shot tech CEO, and he's with his wife. They're both completely caught off guard when they walk in and see this stranger casually hanging out in their house. Things get tense fast. Nobody reacts quickly. He grabs them and locks them inside the sauna, probably hoping that'll buy him some time to leave without trouble. He heads toward the exit, probably thinking he's going to vanish without a trace. But then he notices something that changes everything. Security cameras all over the property. That's when the panic starts to show on his face. He realizes his face might have been caught on one of the cameras, and if they report this, the cops could track him down easily. So instead of running, he turns back around and goes back inside to deal with the couple again. At this point, things are spiraling, but the CEO doesn't lose his cool. This guy is calm, collected, and clearly used to high-stress situations. Instead of calling the cops, he makes Nobody an offer. $500,000 in cash if he agrees to disappear and keep his mouth shut. He tells Nobody he can leave in the morning with the money, no questions asked. It's a strange offer, but also kind of tempting. Nobody isn't thrilled about the deal, but he agrees. You can tell he doesn't fully trust them, and the vibe in the room is still thick with tension. Now the three of them are stuck in this awkward situation, forced to spend the night together under the same roof. It's uncomfortable, to say the least. The night drags on. It becomes clear that this situation is affecting everyone in a weird way. Eventually, the CEO starts talking about how he made his fortune. Turns out, his company built some algorithm that led to thousands of people losing their jobs. He talks about it like it's no big deal. No emotion, no guilt, just business. Nobody listens quietly, but you can tell it's hitting a nerve. Maybe he was one of those people who lost everything because of that algorithm. He doesn't say anything, but the discomfort on his face is hard to miss. Then the wife starts opening up. She talks about how empty and lonely she feels, even though she's married to a guy with more money than they could ever spend. She says she feels trapped in this life, like she's just a prop in some perfect picture. Her husband, the CEO, seems to barely react. It's like he's not even listening. He's too focused on keeping control of the situation with Nobody. You start to see just how broken their relationship really is. They live in this beautiful house, surrounded by wealth, but their connection is completely gone. The way they talk to each other feels cold and robotic, like business partners rather than a married couple. The longer they all stay in the house, the more awkward and strange everything gets. Nobody starts feeling more out of place as the night goes on. He doesn't talk much and keeps to himself, watching how the couple interacts. It becomes pretty obvious that the wife is starting to get a little too friendly with him. She flirts a bit, trying to get his attention, but he doesn't really play along. He stays distant and guarded, like he doesn't know what her real intentions are, or maybe he just doesn't care. The pressure in the house keeps building. Every word feels like it's hiding something else. It's like they're all in a weird psychological standoff, trying to read each other, trying to figure out what the others are planning. Nobody doesn't trust either of them. and you can feel that growing paranoia inside him. Then, just when things can't get weirder, someone else shows up, Rafael, the gardener. He's just there to do his usual work on the property, totally unaware of the bizarre situation happening inside the house. Poor guy has no idea what sort of wild drama is happening inside. He's just there to do his job, probably thinking it'll be another peaceful day trimming hedges. But nope, he's walking straight into a storm he's not ready for. As he's walking around, he ends up finding a scrap of paper with the words "Call 911" scribbled across it. That alone is enough to make anyone's stomach drop. This little note throws everything off balance. The already tense mood in the house suddenly spikes. Nobody, already freaking out and paranoid, starts losing it. He's unraveling fast. The walls feel like they're closing in on him, and now, with Rafael involved, the whole thing starts going off the rails. Rafael, sensing something's not right, tries to leave the property. That's when things take a dark turn. Desperate to keep the situation from spiraling completely out of control, nobody tries to stop him. What follows is a messy, intense scuffle between the two. In the chaos, Rafael accidentally crashes through a glass door and ends up badly hurt. It's not just a small cut, we're talking serious injuries. The tension in the house was already thick, but now with blood and broken glass in the mix, it's like everything is teetering on the edge. The CEO, oddly enough, still manages to keep his cool. It's almost unsettling how calm he is while everything else is going to hell. Meanwhile, his wife is the exact opposite. You can see the panic building up in her. She's upset, stressed, and visibly shaken. The whole vibe in the house has turned completely toxic. They're all stuck inside together, trapped in this suffocating mix of fear, anger, and mistrust. As the night drags on, things take yet another turn. The wife, clearly done with the whole situation, decides to take matters into her own hands. She finds where the cash was hidden and grabs it, but instead of following through with the plan they had agreed on earlier, she changes course. She goes back to nobody and straight up tells him she's not giving him the money or keeping her promise. That doesn't sit well with him, and you can tell he's at his breaking point now. He starts acting more erratic, more unstable, like a man who's realizing everything is slipping out of his control. But then, bam, things take a completely unexpected twist. The wife, who had seemed nervous and overwhelmed all night, suddenly flips the switch. Calm as can be, she breaks free from the restraints nobody had put her in earlier. Without a word, she picks up a heavy piece of decor, something like a statue or a sculpture, and smashes it down on nobody's head, killing him instantly. It's shocking, brutal, and completely cold-blooded. But she doesn't stop there. With a terrifying level of control, she grabs a gun and shoots her own husband, the CEO. Just like that. Then she frames nobody for both deaths by putting the weapon in his hand, setting the whole scene up to make it look like a double murder-suicide. Her whole escape is executed flawlessly. She collects the cash, her ticket to a new life, and slips out the door without making a sound. The ending doesn't give you that neat, wrapped-up conclusion. Instead, it leaves you full of questions. We never really get to understand her full motive. Was she trying to get even? Was this about reclaiming her freedom? Or was it all just a cold, calculated power grab? The film doesn't tell you what to think. It just drops you at the edge of this moment and walks away. The final shot is just haunting. The camera lingers on that now empty house. The same house that once screamed luxury and success, now completely silent, filled with blood and betrayal. It's no longer a place of comfort. It's just a hollow shell of the life she left behind. In the end, the CEO, this ultra-rich, powerful man, is brought down by his own emotional detachment and inability to connect with anyone. Nobody, the mysterious drifter with no name, ends up being just another pawn, crushed under the weight of someone else's desperate choices. And that's what makes Windfall such a heavy watch. It dives deep into the messiness of power, greed, and what people are willing to do to claw their way out of lives they can't stand. There are no clean heroes or clear villains. Everyone is damaged, everyone has secrets, and everyone is just trying to survive in their own twisted way. This movie doesn't spoon-feed you answers. It makes you sit with the discomfort, wrestle with the what-ifs, and question how far people will go when they feel cornered. If you're into slow-burn thrillers that make you think and keep you guessing, this one's definitely worth your time.